Hello friends, welcome to the Soviet Journey channel. In this video, I will tell you about a unique historical event. I will talk about the premiere of Dmitri Shostakovich's 7th Symphony in Leningrad, which took place during the Siege of Leningrad, one of the longest sieges in the world. It involves an enormous effort and an enormous historical process. In the difficult conditions of the war days, such musical activities were incredibly difficult. This symphony, which was realized with great effort, is worth telling. Now let's witness this historic moment together. Yes, comrades, Shostakovich's 7th Symphony is a musical event that took place in Leningrad on August 9, 1942. It is a premiere performance of the 7th Symphony for the first time. The day of this premiere was during World War II, and Leningrad was under massive siege by the Nazis. The work was completed on December 27, 1941, but was not staged at that time. Shostakovich dedicated this work to all the people who lost their lives in the war in his country. The Siege of Leningrad has a truly magnificent historical process in every aspect. During the Siege of Leningrad, which began on September 8, 1941 and lasted 872 days, approximately one-third of the city's population lost their lives. Shostakovich wanted his symphony to be broadcast by the Leningrad Philharmonic Orchestra, but the orchestra members were evacuated from the area as part of the mobilization. The world premiere was held by the Bolshoi Theatre Orchestra on March 5, 1942. The Moscow premiere took place on March 29th in collaboration with the All-Union Radio Orchestra. These are the performances broadcast before the premiere in question. On April 2, 1942, the city arts authorities of Leningrad announced that preparations were being made for the staging of the symphony. Music broadcasts, which had been suspended due to the war, were resumed in order to raise morale for the defense of the city. After that, dealing with symphonies during wartime became a matter of civilian and even military pride. These events were seen as an important political action against the Nazis because of their potential. Of the original 40-person Leningrad Radio Orchestra, 15 members were only in the city. Others either died of starvation or left the city to fight the Nazis. Shostakovich's symphony required an expanded orchestra of about 100 people, so the staff was insufficient. For this reason, great efforts were made by the authorities to search for the musicians of the orchestra who were unable to respond to the regroupment due to hunger or weakness. Many institutions were visited, houses and hospitals were visited one by one. One official described the emaciated condition of many of the musicians as "I cannot describe how these people came to life when they started coming out of their dark apartments." A musician named Galina, who plays clarinet in the orchestra, described the process as follows. They said on the radio that all living musicians were invited. It was difficult to walk. I had scurvy and my legs were very painful. At first there were 9 of us, but later more people came. The conductor was brought in on a sledge, for hunger had made him very weak. The first rehearsal in March 1942, scheduled to last 3 hours, lasted only 15 minutes because the musicians were too tired to play their instruments. During rehearsals, wind instrument players in particular often fell ill. The conductor was dragged to the rehearsal location on a sled, then moved closer to the rehearsal location and given a bicycle. The rehearsals were carried out under such very difficult conditions. In a report from that period, it was written exactly like this. The concertmaster is dying. The percussionist died on the way to work. The horn player is at verge of death. Some musicians were unable to go up to the second floor, so they performed downstairs. People could not sit down, even though they were very weak. Civilians donated large amounts of food to combat hunger, but still 3 artists died during rehearsals. Posters were hung around the city to invite all musicians to join this orchestra. Invitations were even issued symbolically for the Nazis, but of course they were not allowed to enter the city. Rehearsals lasted 6 days, usually from 10 o'clock in the morning to 13 o'clock in the afternoon at the Pushkin Theatre. They were frequently interrupted by sirens warning of air raids, and some musicians had to man anti-aircraft guns or fight fires. So rehearsals were frequently interrupted. Conditions were really bad. The instruments were also in poor condition and there were few repairmen in the city. A mechanic even asked for a cat as food in exchange for repairs, but even the number of cats in the city was very small because people consumed cats by eating them. The concert was held on August 9, 1942 in the Grand Philharmonie Hall. August 9th was the date on which Adolf Hitler had previously planned to celebrate the capture of Leningrad with a banquet at the city's Astoria Hotel. Before the concert, a special operation was carried out under the name of Operation Shikval, and the bombing of the Nazi artillery positions was ordered. Soviet intelligence was prepared for the attack and had previously detected Nazi artillery and positions. On the day of the concert, Nazi positions were bombed to prevent any negative events and to prevent the Nazis from targeting the concert hall. Giant speakers were placed in the city. So while the bombing was going on, the sounds of the concert were coming from the background. In their later testimonies, the Nazis who were taken prisoner after the siege said that all the soldiers in the position were in great shock during that period. The concert started and there were intense emotional moments on stage. The performance was actually of poor artistic quality, as many of the musicians were hungry and ill. Some musicians even paused during the performance because they were exhausted and out of breath. But the audience suddenly stood up and shouted, "Come on, go on!" At the end of the show, there was an applause that lasted for about an hour. When the concert ended, the commander guarding the concert came on stage and made a humorous joke by saying, "We too made a symphony with cannons." The concert was broadcast live from loudspeakers and was carried out as an attack against Nazi morale. Yes, comrades, we witnessed this magnificent historical moment together with you. There are no films, photographs, or recordings of the concert that have survived to this day. Because even during the war years, very few people outside of Leningrad knew about this event. However, after the war, fame of this incident spread. Today, the patriotic meaning of the 7th Symphony is still preserved and there is great respect for the song. Later, the surviving artists participated in reunion concerts in the same hall and in the same seats in 1964 and 1992. Shostakovich also attended the first concert in 1964. At the concert in 1992, there were 14 surviving musicians. Well, friends, I wanted to tell you about the Leningrad premiere of Shostakovich's 7th Symphony. This work, which tells the story of the difficult times of the war, is a true historical anecdote. We make similar videos like this on the Soviet Journey channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel to follow. Goodbye for now.